Hello again, Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to give three keys for Ole Miss, which hosts Kentucky and Oxford on Saturday. Big game for both teams. Let's get right into it. Chase, your number one key for Ole Miss on Saturday.
Yeah, I think and Ole Miss has done a good job of this, but going into a conference game, just the way Ole Miss's schedule has been, I think Kentucky is the toughest team they've played so far, and so I think the biggest thing for me, you don't give Kentucky momentum and turnovers, and I think Ole Miss has done a good job this year of not turning the ball over. But again, this defense of Kentucky is good, and they are going to put pressure on places that Ole Miss hasn't seen this year. And so I think it would be good for Ole Miss not to give Kentucky the short field situations, give them good field position and off of turnovers. And so you give Kentucky the short field, and they could take advantage of it. And so I think that will be big for Ole Miss to not give them situations to take advantage of, not put them in short yardage and give them some momentum. Kentucky is a team that can feed off of momentum. And so I think that will be beneficial for Ole Miss to not give them that momentum in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with they got so many dudes in the front seven that have played a lot
Right.
of ball at a high level. Derek Jackson, J.J. Weaver, Deion Walker, most notably. But the guy that's really made stuff happen for them at times is Max Hairston, who benefits from the pressure they can get on quarterbacks. He's had at least 3 pick sixes in his career. So, look, this is a Kentucky offense that struggles to score. The last thing you want to do is give Kentucky a chance to score points
Yeah.
without its offense on the field. And Harrison's a guy that can make that happen at times.
Yeah, and he is, and that's something that Ole Miss is going to have to keep an eye on Saturday. Because again, I think their game plan could be, hey, let's put as much pressure as we can on them, cause some turnovers, and get that momentum in short yardage situation.
Well, speaking of pressure, Ole Miss wants to generate a lot of that with its front seven, which it can do. Ole Miss is a really good team at generating pressure. And I think beyond that, you just don't want to let Brock Vandagriff develop confidence. He really struggled against Georgia. Kentucky's offense has not looked good so far. Picked it up a little bit in the Ohio game where the numbers got better, but Vandergriff, a very highly regarded transfer from Georgia, highly regarded recruit out of high school. If you're Ole Miss, you don't want to start seeing what it was that everybody loved about Brock Vandagriff coming into the year.
Right, and that's a very good point. I feel like Vandergriff is due to have kind of that big game that we've all been waiting on. I don't know if it'll be this one. Ole Miss's defense is fantastic, but yeah, I think keeping Vandergriff where he doesn't have any confidence is a key for Ole Miss. I mean, again, I think the defense of Ole Miss can put pressure on him really like he hasn't seen this season, and he's seen a lot of pressure. And so I think that's how good this Ole Miss defense is. But yeah, containing Vandergriff, not letting him break through. Like I think he will eventually break through, but I don't think it'll be against Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss is only giving up 3.5 yards of play per, on 68 snaps a game. So incredible defensive numbers for the Rebels, but they haven't played the toughest of schedules. And Kentucky, I think, will still be, in spite of its struggles, the most talented offense probably that they've faced yet. Maybe Wake Forest is that. But in any
Yeah.
case, before we get to our third key, reminding you that our content brought to you by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff. Get in on our $200,000 mega contest. Pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on to our online casino. Get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here. All right. Very interesting stat on Kentucky that I dug up, and I had to double check it to make sure this was right. Kentucky only averages 47 snaps a game on defense, which is amazing given how poor the offense has been. So you challenged Ole Miss, and they've been able to do this so far. Ole Miss runs that up-tempo offense, and let me give you the number on them on the field. They have averaged 76 plays a game on offense, which is one of the top numbers in the league. I think that's a couple behind Tennessee, and I can't remember who else. But in any case, one of the higher play volume offenses in the league against a defense that manages to stay off the field for a lot of snaps, despite not having an offense that helps them out. So I think key for Ole Miss, just do what you do and keep Kentucky's defense on the field more than it's used to.
Yeah, that's a really interesting stat there that I would not have expected. But yeah, I think this with this Ole Miss team, they're so good at doing the little things right. Like they move the ball so well. They just look poised while doing it. Jackson Dart, great quarterback, but yeah, I think this Kentucky defense again. We went into the season really high on them, and I still think there's some really bright spots on this Kentucky defense. I really do. But yeah, I think Ole Miss has the ability offensively to break through this defense, to do things other teams have not been able to do on this Kentucky defense.
Yeah. Anxious to see it. Interesting matchup between these teams. We will recap it Saturday night, probably around the time Alabama and Georgia's ending. To get that, hit the subscribe button. That is free. Enable your notifications. That's also free. And so that'll let you know when we put out videos and go live. If you're interested in advertising, caroline.smith at southeastern14.com. We reach millions of fans every year. And also, if you're in the mood for baseball and basketball content off season, we got that too. We do something every week on those two sports. So that's another thing that you can get when you enable your notifications and subscribe. You can see when we come out with those. In any case, looking forward to wrapping this one up Saturday night. He is Chase Robinson. I'm Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 16, presented by BetOnline.